Hello, everyone. This is my part four for the book article assignment. The first book I'm going to be talking about today is Studs Terkel's Hard Times, An Oral History of the Great Depression. I chose this book because it goes into a lot of detail without much input from the author. He does a lot of interviews, oral interviews with people, and then they are transcribed into the book. The book itself is broken up into five chapters, with each chapter having subsections that discuss different details about the broader chapters. He discusses things such as the bonus march that the veterans did on Washington, D.C. And the learning activity that I want to use with this book is that students would be assigned small chapters, like the subsections or specific interviews that were taking place inside the book, and they would create a poster board or a presentation to discuss with other small groups that they found. And those groups that are being presented to would then fill out a questionnaire about what they learned and information that they found that related to theirs. And not all information is related inside the book, and I think that'll be more interesting because it allows people to see what everyday Americans did compared to those that worked as bankers or other such professions. Book two is following a similar sort. It's called The Worst Hard Time by Timothy Egan. This one discusses more about the Dust Bowl and certain things that happen um, out towards the Midwest. I found this book interesting because um, I wanted it to feel kind of a bit more closer to home. A lot of Studs Terkel's takes place on the East Coast or the West Coast. Not much takes place in the Midwest. The Worst Hard Time talks specifically about the Dust Bowl and the area that the Dust Bowl happened. It follows a couple different families. It's more of a history book narrative, so it is a lot more details, numbers, specific ideas instead of interviews. I think that'll help students also get better acquainted with the information being presented that way before they go off to college. The learning activity I want to use for this book, though, is that they would choose, or I would assign them a family to follow throughout the book, and I would provide them a basic background information. The students would then present their information and create journal entries. And then as a class, we would discuss governmental policies and the governmental policies that these people experience and how they relate to the modern era of these policies. Some of these policies are still in effect, and some of them have been changed or adapted to fit with the growing number of people. So I think that'll be a very interesting activity to see both past and present of how these policies have affected people. The third book is from one of our classmates. I'm not going to share their name due to this being published on YouTube. Um, but I chose this book because it sounded similar to one that I already had. So I'm going to be using their information, but I also have a book that is very similar. They used a progressive era primary documents on events from 1890 to 1914. Um, it is similar to the book that I believe I have, which is it's broken up into primary documents and then journal articles written by historians. The activity that I want to do with this one is that they will read primary sources, newspapers, etc., and then they would craft a persona that has chosen a side on the topics being discussed. They will then flesh out their character and create a form of biography, and then that character will choose a stance on the topics where we will then hold a mock town hall where civilized debates proctored by me, the teacher, will take place. Afterwards, students will then reflect on the information presented and during the debate, and then they will write a short summary reflecting on both their point of view and their character's point of view on the topic. I think all three of these will introduce different ideas to the students of history is not just about big ideas, but it's about the people that live through it. And all three of these allows the students to see those small little bits of history.